These are the images of the human consequences of an unfolding genocide in Sudan. Evidence from the testimony of survivors of brutal massacres in the country's so-called civil war. At least 150,000 people have already been killed in the battle for power between the country's army and a paramilitary group that calls itself the Rapid Support Forces. We've heard harrowing accounts from those who've lost everything.
We saw everything on the route. Everything. People injured, bodies on the streets, everything. Since Saturday, I don't know where my husband is.
And warnings that the effects of these atrocities will be felt across the world.
It's high time that the international community united to fight this far dangerous terrorist group than the other groups that the international community has confronted.
Nowhere on earth is there anything to compare in volume and velocity of deaths to the killing fields of Sudan. The fall of a town to rebel forces has resulted in thousands of lost lives among people who had been taking refuge, massacred by those rebels, the Rapid Support Forces. The scale of death comes from the harrowing accounts of survivors, which we are about to play. The only way of hearing them is thanks to freelance camera teams. Tonight, the British government has requested a meeting of the UN Human Rights Council to discuss how the international community can best help Sudan. Latest estimates suggest that over 4 years, 150,000 people have been killed, with another 14 million displaced. Many of those are in two camps. We have pictures from Tawila in the west and at Al-Daba, 150 miles north of the capital, Khartoum.
You don't need to understand what they are saying to sense their pain. And it is impossible to truly understand their trauma. Yet neither language nor shared experience are needed to appreciate the depths of their agonies. They have fled fighting around their homes to the relative safety of the camps, witnessing murder and witnessing and enduring sexual assault, torture, robbery, kidnap and extortion on their journeys.
We saw everything on the route. Everything. People injured, bodies on the streets, everything. Since Saturday, I don't know where my husband is. I have no idea where he is.
Those bodies she saw, and likely the husband she lost, are part of an unfolding genocide. These women are the survivors, but note how few men there are here. Of the tens of thousands of people who fled El Fasher, only 10,000 have reached the camps. Few families reach here intact.
I lost my son. I lost my brother, and another brother is missing. They took my son-in-law and killed him along with my brother.
In Tawila, part of Darfur, close to the fighting, hundreds of children have arrived without families. Thousands of families have arrived without sons and daughters killed or seized on the journey. Both Mohammed Bashir's parents were killed. He was held captive with other boys, and the family forced to pay a ransom. When El Fasher, one of Darfur's largest cities, fell to the Rapid Support Forces in the past days, the scale of the violence took this war to a new low. The slaughter of doctors, patients and families in one of the city's hospitals, adding to the 150,000 now dead and 14 million displaced. Sudan's ambassador to the UK blames a lack of international action for the ongoing crisis.
It is high time that the international community united to fight this far dangerous terrorist group than the other groups that the international community has confronted.
Too many here have already lived through genocide. Many more may yet know its horrors. but neither experience nor innocence offers any greater chance of survival.
And Emma's here to talk about all this. Listen, we saw the forces taking a town and moving through it briefly there, but what they do is just horrific, isn't it? How has it got to this point?
Well, it's got to this point because you have a highly armed militia, and a militia that is recruiting from 17 different countries. It has thousands and thousands of members, and it has overrun the Sudanese armed forces. It has taken those cities, and it has no sense of moral obligation or any kind of boundary. Now, there's not a lot of boundaries in war, but you'd hope that there might be some. There are none in terms of this. We've seen footage of senior figures in the RSF publicly stating on camera, unafraid to speak on camera, about the fact that they don't want to take any prisoners. They want everybody killed. And that is a really very significant statement, and it makes you realise why the journeys that those people, some of whom we saw in that report tonight, have been so fraught with difficulty. There wasn't a single person in the many interviews that were done for us in those camps who had their whole family. And they spoke of things that much of which we couldn't actually put on air because it was so incredibly disturbing. And that's part of the problem with the footage as well. And I think this is a war that has been forgotten or ignored. Now, the UK is pushing for this meeting next Wednesday. It is, of course, important that the international community discuss, but from people that I've been speaking to who are involved in this, they want far more than discussions. They actually want the international community to start calling to account those like the UAE who are accused of providing weaponry for something that they deny, and others to try and really stop arming a militia that seems to have absolutely no respect whatsoever for human life.
Okay, Emma, thank you very much indeed.